Fox 61 News at 10 starts now.
On this vote, the yeas are 222, the nays are 209. The bill is passed.
Breaking news here at 10. The longest government shutdown in U.S. history is nearly over now. As we wait for President Trump to sign the bill the House of Representatives passed just hours ago. Thanks for joining us on Fox 61. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. The House passed the bill about 90 minutes ago on day 43 of the shutdown.
Now, Fox 61's Stephen Reels has been looking into this bill. He's here with us in studio with what you need to know about the shutdown ending and how long it could be before things get back to normal.
All right, Stephen, let's talk first about what's included in the bill.
Yeah, we got a couple of big things to get to, but I just want to talk to viewers real quick. We're still waiting for President Trump, like Brent said at the top of the show, to sign off on this bill. So if at any point he does have any sign of signing that bill, we're going to cut straight to it. My producer's going to be in my ear the entire time, and I will communicate with you, and we'll throw to him once President Trump is signing the bill. But until then, let's get into what is going to be in this bill. This bill that the House just approved, it funds the government through January. It also funds SNAP through September. That was a very big thing that has been on the tips of everybody's mouths over these past few weeks. Also, another big subject, federal workers who have not been getting paid, they will receive back pay for all the time that they have missed during the shutdown. Also, final thing that's not on that screen right now, this also reverses the recent firings that have happened at the federal level.
All right, Stephen. One of the things that was not included, though, was the guarantee to extend health care subsidies, which Democrats originally, that was the whole thing they were holding out for.
And that was the whole thing. And then we started to see some Democrats turn in the Senate. And then that also happened in the House with this vote as well. I'll break down those numbers in a second. But yeah, the health care was the big part that was left out of this bill. Now, the Senate did say that they would vote on this in December, but it's not clear if any common ground is going to be found on this subject before then. And even if it is, the big problem that a lot of people will run into is that House Speaker Mike Johnson, he said that there is no commitment he will bring that new bill on the health care to the House. So that's the roadblock a lot of people now see ahead of them. Yes, you could resolve a lot in the Senate, but if it doesn't pass the House, that's where a lot of it will stop.
All right, so one of the biggest impacts we've seen, we've talked a lot about it here in the last few days, is at America's airports, air traffic being reduced and so on. Is there any indication right now how long it might be before air traffic can get back to normal?
That is an interesting subject because even before the House news broke that they would approve the new bill, the FAA came out with a statement saying that they would keep the 6% reduction to air traffic at the 40 busiest airports in the country. They would keep it at 6% because we're now starting to see air traffic controllers show up for work again. Now, we were on track to increase these reductions tomorrow in just a few hours, actually, and increase it to 8% and then another 2% going into Friday. So now we're going to avoid all of that, but it's not clear how long this is going to last at these 6% reductions. And even if these reductions are taken away again and we do get everything back to normal, it's still going to take some time before flights will get back to normal. It's going to take some time before the delays and cancellations are completely out of the woods for a lot of travelers. So all those tips you've heard me and our other reporters talk about showing up early, having customer service on speed dial, you're still going to need those for the coming days, potentially even into the Thanksgiving holidays.
Yeah. And have you heard from any of the Connecticut lawmakers?
Yeah, we have. So none of them were included in the 6 Democrats who flipped in the House. That more than made up for what the GOP lost when 2 of their representatives flipped, but none of the Connecticut Democrats in the House, they did not flip. So they are not happy with what just happened, and I'll get more into their statements a little bit later at 10:30. But I just want to get into one of these statements coming from Representative DeLauro, who called this bill a big failure. So that's just a taste of what we're going to see at 10:30.
All right, Stephen, thank you. And you'll find more coverage of this story on our free Fox 61 News app. Just scan the QR code there on your screen.
Lots of clouds out there tonight, which is a bummer because once again, there is another solar storm that is hitting the Earth, but it is about half as strong as it was yesterday at this time. So we are at this point not expecting a repeat performance of last night's show. You can actually see a lot of those clouds here on satellite. There are some breaks in the satellite though, so I'm not discouraging you from trying to get out there. Again, sometimes there can be surprises, but as of right now, it is not looking as impressive. Low temperatures tonight will be in the 30s inland, near 40 for the shoreline, with decreasing clouds as we head towards daybreak. High temperatures tomorrow will be in the 40s. After some morning sun, we'll see more clouds as we head through the afternoon, and there is a chance for a light shower or flurry in the Northwest Hills as we head through the afternoon as well. What about the weekend? We are timing out some rain coming up.
Hi, Rachel. Thank you. We have an update now on the breaking news we brought you last night here at 10. Portland police have identified the victim of last night's deadly crash on the Aragoni Bridge. They say 70-year-old Joseph Baran from Middletown died at the scene in a head-on crash. A 31-year-old woman who was driving the other car was taken to the hospital. We have no word right now on how she's doing or what caused that crash.
Person's in critical condition after being hit by a car in Bristol. This happened just after 7:15 near Pine Street and Riverside Extension. Lifestar was called in. The driver is cooperating with police. Anyone who might have witnessed this is asked to contact police.
All right, a special session is taking place right now at the state capitol, and it comes as Governor Ned Lamont says the uncertainty from the federal government shutdown has left many people here in Connecticut who rely on social programs in limbo, especially when it comes to the future of funding for programs like Medicaid and SNAP.
Fox 61's Annette Montgomery has a deeper explanation on what will happen in this special session and the impacts we can expect to see soon.
The purpose of this special session and the two-day voting window that began Wednesday is simple: to figure out what happens when we start to see cuts to social programs because of the big, beautiful bill that was passed in July, or if we see another federal government shutdown.
They're going to try to get a lot of things done all at once. I think, the big one is to support in case there's a government shutdown and support those programs.
Political science professor Scott McLean is referring to programs like SNAP and WIC. It comes as lawmakers in Connecticut spend Wednesday and Thursday in a special session focused on the creation of a $500 million reserve fund in case we see another government shutdown.
Right now, the Democrats have a commanding majority in both houses. The Republicans, I think wisely, are seeing after the election that that Connecticut residents really do care about these various programs, about affordability.
McLean says the purpose of this special session is to look at what happens when we start to see cuts to social programs like SNAP and Medicaid when the big, beautiful bill that was passed in July kicks in.
I think it will establish what the rainy day fund can and cannot be used for. Yes, bipartisan support for supporting anti-poverty programs, but maybe not for other things like higher ed or supporting local nonprofits that are also addressing food emergency needs.
The state's rainy day fund sits around $4.3 billion, which McLean says puts Connecticut in a great position.
I think Connecticut is in an amazing position. Very few states have that kind of surplus and that kind of support for pensions, for emergencies, and so on and so forth.
McLean tells me this special session will set the stage for the regular session in February and the matters legislators want to really focus on. He says Republican leaders across the state saw with the November 4th election how important programs like SNAP are to people here in Connecticut. In Hartford, Annette Montgomery, Fox 61.
Annette, thank you. Newly released emails from Jeffrey Epstein's estate are raising fresh questions about President Trump's relationship with the disgraced financier. The documents released Wednesday by House Oversight Committee Democrats suggest Trump, quote, knew about the girls, though what that actually means remains unclear. The emails include a 2011 message from Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell, his close associate, who is now in prison. That message claimed Trump had spent hours at Epstein's house with a person later identified as a victim. Epstein also wrote in 2019 to journalist Michael Wolff that Trump knew about the girls. Trump has denied any knowledge of Epstein's crimes and has said he ended ended their relationship years ago. The White House called the email release a selective leak designed to smear the president, while Democratic Congress members called the emails horrifying.
This is another distraction campaign by the Democrat and the liberal media, and it's why I'm being asked questions about Epstein instead of the government reopening because of Republicans and President Trump.
It seems as though Donald Trump had a very close personal relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and that he had personally spent time with victims in the Epstein operation. And I think that this is just, I mean, it's horrifying. It's horrifying.
The emails were released hours before Democrat Adelita Gravolia was sworn in as Arizona's newest member of Congress. House Speaker Mike Johnson held up that swearing in for weeks, saying it was because of the government shutdown. Democrats said he was stalling because Gravolia will likely be the final signature needed to force a House vote on releasing more files on Jeffrey Epstein.
It's past time for Congress to restore its role as a check and balance on this administration and fight for we, the American people. That's what the American people expect us to do. Fight for them. That is why I will sign the discharge petition right now to release the Epstein files.
Virginia Giuffre, the woman referenced in the emails who died earlier this year, consistently said under oath that Trump was not among the men who victimized her. In court depositions and her memoirs, Giuffre described meeting Trump only once and said, quote, he couldn't have been friendlier. Other staff in Epstein's household also told investigators they never saw Trump engage in inappropriate behavior. Epstein took his own life in 2019 while awaiting trial, and Maxwell is now serving a 20-year prison sentence for her role in his trafficking network.
All right, stand by.
Now, the emails are part of more than 23,000 documents provided to Congress by Epstein's estate. Republicans on the committee have countered by releasing additional documents and called the Democratic release a politically motivated attack.
Well, Jeff Fox, a former Fox 61 meteorologist, passed away in his sleep last night. His family made the announcement on social media earlier today. For many people in Connecticut, Jeff Fox wasn't just a weatherman, he was the weather. From hurricanes to blizzards to sunny weekends and historic storms, his warmth, humor, and passion reached viewers for nearly 4 decades. On our website, fox61.com, we remember his remarkable career, his love of science, and the lasting impact he had on Connecticut and the many people who loved him. So go check out that tribute.